When you're drawing a human, I think making a character's legs stand and look believably is the hardest thing to get right. And there are a couple of tricks in order to make this look a bit less awkward, and I'm going to show you how this works. Hi there. You know what I get to read a lot in my comments? Yeah, that. But there are also so many people asking about a how to draw a leg video, but just learning the anatomy of a leg is not going to help you with drawing a character. What you need is how to make a character stand correctly. So let's just look at the very basic build-up of a human, learn the dynamics and learn how to make them stand so that your pose doesn't look stiff and awkward. There's also a draw-along part if you want to join me, and maybe there will also be a cheat sheet with some more info at the end of the video for you to screenshot. Also, I know this is kind of awkward to ask in advance, but please leave a like so that more people get to see this video. That would be a nice way to help me out, because my name's not that. And today you are going to learn how to make your characters stand. Like a sir. Okay, so instead of looking at a leg like this with all of the details, let's look at a leg in a more simpler fashion. Just your thigh, your calf, and your foot. Also, you obviously have a joint, that would be your knee. So let's just keep it simple like that. I think this makes things a bit simpler to understand and also to draw. Just practice with these dumbed down shapes, because they are also very easy to remember. A simple box for your hip, one cone for your thigh, your calf is also kind of a cone, the only exception being that there's this bump on the outside. And lastly, you obviously have your foot, but your foot also has a very simple shape. You now have your 3 points where a leg can move. You have your hip, that's the joint where your entire leg moves. You have your knee, obviously, and there is also your foot. So this should at least be enough to give the legs that you're drawing somewhat of a sensible shape. Go ahead, give it a shot, draw it like this. It's literally just the way that I've showed you before. A very simple cone shape. Your joint, aka your knee. And then there's the lower part of your leg, which are your calves. Again, don't overcomplicate things. You can also just draw this very simple shape for your foot and call it a day for now. Because remember, it's not about the details at the moment, it's just about how to make your character Okay, so legs function kinda like springs. You know, at the Paralympics where the athletes without legs get these kind of springs as a replacement? Sounds weird, but this is exactly how a leg works. The lower part balances the upper part out. So instead of legs being all stiff, they are just kind of an S-curve most of the time in a very relaxed state. That's the trick to a believable standing person. Drawing their legs with some momentum. So you start with the hip, which is actually tilted, most people tend to forget that. And this is also where you have your legs attached. There goes your knees, your calves, and your feet. And the reason why this drawing looks believable is because these legs are standing, a curved stand. But I guess that's something most of you guys are able to understand. Okay, I'll stop now. Now that you've understood this, let's try drawing some legs together. I've picked out the best reference photos I could find for this. You could say they are the best in the entirety of the world. Okay, so I didn't want models with pants on. We want to see the legs after all. But models in underwear, well, let's say they don't leave anything to the imagination. So let's just take some photos that I've made for my latest book. Luckily, my little brother volunteered for a photo shoot, so I got a lot of photos that we could use here. By the way, in case you want to know more about my books or my art supplies, you could just go ahead and visit my online shop. You can find basically all of my works there, including my pencil case and books with my brother posing like... These jokes just write themselves sometimes, I swear. Okay, let's go. Here's a photo of my brother from my latest book. Let's try drawing the legs in a similar fashion. For starters, you want to draw this box that represents your hip. And you might wonder, like, where this box thing is? And it's easy to spot if you know what you're looking for, because your hip bones are visible right where these V-cut lines are. They are basically resting on your hip bones. So if you're on the lookout for these, you know always exactly where this box is. And like I said before, this box is actually tilted, because that's how your hip works. That's why most pros draw these boxes slightly at an angle, but if that's confusing to you, you don't have to do that, it's just a thought that counts. You can also draw it straight, doesn't have to be angled. And now let's proceed like before. And remember to keep it simple, just easy cone shapes, nothing elaborate, focus on replicating the pose. Remember what I've said before, your lower legs are not sticks, so don't draw them that way. Remember, there's always dynamics involved, like I told you before. Oh yeah, I screwed up the camera setting, by the way, so you can't see what's going on. Okay, now you should be able to see how I add the feed in a very simplified way, and that's pretty much it. You could also add these volume lines that I'm always adding in order to check if your drawing actually has a 3D feeling to it. And now you can correct the final shape. Like the thigh, for example, has a bit more mass to it, if you precisely look at it. The most important thing here was to get the dynamics right before, so that it doesn't look stiff. That's why we are doing things like correcting the exact shape last. Oh, and if that wasn't enough for you, there are some more poses from my book if you want to practice some more. Just make sure that if you upload them to Instagram or social media or whatever, to tag my brother. I bet he's always very happy if he gets to see your guys' drawings of him. I mean, you could also tag me. And also, hey, here's a cheat sheet that you should definitely screenshot in order to practice drawing stands at home. The only thing that I would want to return would be a comment. I've made tutorials about basically everything now. You can just comment what kind of video you would like to see next. I have a couple of ideas for future videos already, so definitely subscribe so you won't miss them. Well then, see you guys.